obviously directly after, I didn't have the desire. Am I boring you?
No, I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me?
I am sorry.
Again?
From the feud between Diana and Garcelle to a special guest appearance that I think no one saw coming, we are breaking down the most shocking moments from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 1. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Blake McHugh, and welcome back to another shared news update. We have got a lot to talk about, but before we do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss any of our future videos. We are going to go in order as things played out on the show. So the first most shocking moment of part 1 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion was Jamie Lee Curtis making a cameo. Now, we've seen Andy do this before to the Housewives, right? But usually they're either not so excited about whoever they're teasing is going to come out, and B, usually they don't come out at all. Andy's just kind of playing a little trick on them. But this time, Jamie Lee Curtis was there, and everyone was so happy to see her. Also, this is the first time Andy and Jamie have ever met. So listen to this. Jamie shared that because of her appearance on the show where she was promoting her charity, My Hands and Yours, it was the single biggest day in her charity's history. And she's thanking in large part to Dorit. She said it was Dorit's enthusiasm that changed her company so much so she rebranded to Chicest Children's Charity. Next on the list, and probably my favorite moment of the night overall, was Andy Cohen yawning while Dorit was talking. And first off, it wasn't like she was talking about something menial. She was talking about her robbery. So it literally could not have been a worse time for him to yawn.
Directly after, I didn't have the desire. Am I boring you?
No, I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me?
I am sorry.
Again?
In addition to that, this is the second time that Andy has yawned while Dorit is talking. The first came in season 11's reunion taping, and she had the exact same reaction both times. I mean, we know Dorit is long-winded, but we can't hold it back, Andy. Come on. I did think it was hilarious though, so I was living for it. So next on the list, and also on the topic of Dorit's robbery, Kyle shared that her robbers actually got in contact with her. Now, if you don't remember, Kyle was robbed back in 2017 when her family was gone on vacation. They stole a lot of prized possessions of hers, but most importantly, heirlooms that were passed down to her from her late mother. So you can imagine this is pretty shocking news that 5 years later, the robbers are reaching out to her and saying, I still have your stuff. Now, apparently Kyle has sent them some money to get her items back, to which her friends were shocked that the robbers were sent any money. But I mean, I guess if it's important to you enough, gotta do what you gotta do. The next most shocking moment came from the conversation about the online hate that Garcelle's 14-year-old son received. So naturally, Garcelle got choked up while talking about the horrible, awful situation, and she shared that people had sent her son her old Playboy photos, which is just so, makes no sense. Now, when Andy asked if he thought that anyone in the group was behind the bots attacking her son, she revealed that she did believe it was someone in the group. Now, later on in the episode, when Diana arrives via Zoom, Garcelle shared that she thought it was Diana who was behind it.
Was there a point where you thought she was behind it?
Yeah, I did. If I'm going to be honest, I did think she was behind it. Absolutely.
Assuming because most of the comments were in defense of Diana since she and Garcelle were not getting along. Garcelle did say that she has an open investigation into who hired the bots. Diana also shared that she has an ongoing investigation as well. Now, before Diana made her appearance, Andy made a shocking move, addressing the audience directly about the online hate.
Well, I'm not alone in saying how appalled I am at what's been happening on social media. You can love our cast and you can love to hate our cast if you want, but only in the spirit of entertainment. It's a TV show, everybody. There's no room for this kind of hate, and Bravo unequivocally condemns it.
He made it very clear that whether you love the women or you love to hate the women, this is for entertainment purposes. And fans of the show should never target the women or their families in ways that have happened this year and, of course, in years past. Now, I don't know that we've ever really seen Bravo take a stance on television like this. We know that they put up statements online, especially when the online bots were attacking Garcelle's son, Jax. But I don't know that we've ever seen them address it on TV, and I really think this moment was really necessary. Although I don't believe, for the most majority at least, that it's fans of the show who are doing this. I just can't believe that you could be a watcher of a show like this, but then spew hate like that. But who knows? People do crazy things. I am really glad this moment happened though, and it seemed like the ladies really appreciated it as well. Now, another most shocking moment was Crystal kind of caught in a lie or fabrication, I don't know what we want to call it, about Sutton's dark comments. So let's just go back in time for a second. You'll remember in season 11 when the girls were away on a cast trip, Sutton was having a conversation about race, and she said she didn't see color. Since then, we've heard snippets from Crystal about the conversation, that Sutton's comments were dark. She was also referencing another conversation that didn't air, but then we went back and saw behind the scenes clips of their conversation. But Crystal has really alluded that her comments were dark, that the things that Sutton had said were really bad. And it made everyone believe that Sutton had made racist comments. Well, Crystal is sort of backtracking now, giving some clarity, saying the overall feeling of the conversation for Crystal was dark. It was nothing that Sutton specifically said, which really are contradictory statements because Crystal has been steadfast in the fact that Sutton made dark comments, not that she felt the conversation was dark. Now, Crystal did admit that part of the reason she felt like the conversation was so dark was because she didn't know Sutton at the time. Had it been a conversation that they had once Crystal knew her better and her intentions, she would have felt very differently about it. It seems like things are good between Crystal and Sutton now, so I guess we can put the whole ordeal to rest and Sutton's name is cleared, which I suppose is all that matters at this point. And truthfully, I'm hoping that we don't rehash this conversation any longer in the future seasons. Last on our list on the most shocking moments of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 1, and I think this really may be the most shocking because I absolutely did not see this coming or have any inkling that this had happened. Garcelle revealed that Diana sent a threatening text to her while the online bullying situation with her son was unfolding.
What was the threatening message?
It was pretty much, if anything happens to my family, I'm coming for you.
But how? Was it illegally?
So if we go back, you may remember that Jack shared a screenshot of what someone had sent him, saying if it weren't for his white daddy, that he'd have his neck knelt on. In that same comment, the user wrote, "Leave Diana alone." Now he reshared that to his Instagram story, saying this has just gone too far. And apparently Diana wasn't happy about it because her name wasn't blurred or scratched out. She then sent Garcelle this message.
What was the threatening message?
It was pretty much, if anything happens to my family, I'm coming for you.
But how? Was it illegally?
It reads, "Believe me when I say, if anything happens to my children, you will be held legally responsible, and no Bravo contract will stop me." I don't know about you, but I was blown away that that message was sent. That Diana wouldn't have an outside point of view or understanding to look, from afar and see that this is a 14-year-old reacting in the moment. And they are dealing with so much bigger than your name being put in this message or blurred out. And what infuriated me the most about the situation was Diana trying to tell Garcelle that the message was not the same threatening message as a physical threat, making the comparison to Diana's brother being murdered or when she had to flee her country because it was under attack. So in conclusion, her message wasn't really a threat because she wasn't threatening physical harm, is what I perceived Diana to be saying. But wasn't the whole time? People were threatening her son physical harm. And then you're adding this on top. It doesn't make any sense. How the women didn't stand up for Garcelle in that moment and tried to explain Diana's side made absolutely no sense to me. Now, of course, at the end of the episode, we saw a snippet for what is to come next week, and in the rest of the taping of the reunion, we've got Kathy coming out of her car, calm, cool, and collected. She's got her iconic slippers on and a robe, so they are gearing us up for what is to come. I've got to know, though, what was your most shocking moment of part 1? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, before you do that, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell because we will be recapping next week's part 2 as well, and you don't want to miss our videos. I'm your host, Blakely McHugh. You can see my social media handle on the screen. Drop by, give me a follow, and say hello.